If I must starve, let it be in your arms. By Ignium 807. Chapter 4. The conversation over dinner haunts Lambert for days. I got tired of the pain, Geralt had said, and those words shot through Lambert like a fucking sword to the chest. Because he was right. It did hurt. It hurt every damn day, and somehow Geralt had found a way out. He'd found Jaskier. Lambert needs to know more. Eskel does too. He's certain, though they never talk about it directly. The two of them reach an agreement in silent looks and nods as they spar, the language they were raised on. They were on the same side, no question about that. The only issue now is Geralt. He'll never offer up information on his own. Getting him drunk might work, but that takes a lot of liquor, and he's just as likely to fly into a fit of rage as he is to spill his secrets. No, they need him vulnerable, off balance. It takes a week or so, but their patience is rewarded with the perfect opportunity. Geralt is bathing in Kaer Morhen's hot spring. Eskel has just come back from hunting their dinner. Lambert is done with the potions he was preparing. Hot springs, Lambert says as Eskel enters the hall, and that's all it takes. They head down together. Geralt grunts a greeting when they walk into the cavern with the spring and strip down. This is a common enough occurrence. They wash in silence for a few minutes, enjoying how the hot water melts away the frigid winter air that has seeped into all their bones. Lambert leans against the ledge that Geralt is relaxing on. Eskel quietly positions himself between Geralt and the door. "Tell me about this bird of yours," Lambert says. It's not subtle, but it doesn't need to be. Not between the three of them. "His name is Jaskier," Geralt corrects. Not very helpful, but definitely more than Lambert was expecting on his first go. Across the spring, Eskel gives him a slow nod of encouragement. "Yes, Jaskier. Tell me about him." Geralt's stare is guarded, maybe even a little angry. "Why the fuck do you care?" Lambert shrugs. "Idle curiosity." "Be curious about something else." "But I'm curious about this. You've traveled with him for years now, and you hardly say anything about him. You can hardly blame me for wanting to know more." Geralt doesn't bother answering. He pushes out of the water and heads for the door, as if he can escape this conversation. Eskel is faster, planting himself like a mountain in front of the exit. Geralt eyes them both, ire written into the planes of his face. "What the fuck is this?" "We want to talk to you," Eskel says firmly. "Please, Geralt," Lambert murmurs, and he sees surprise in the tightness of Geralt's stance. He turns slowly, still looking warily between them, and slides back down into the spring. "Why?" Eskel swallows down his shame. He meets Lambert's eyes across the water and is steadied by the steel he finds there. He looks to Geralt. "You aren't the only one who's tired of the pain." Lambert leaves the griffin's head neatly wrapped in a sack on the Lord's doorstep and heads back to the inn. It was a long, grisly fight. There's a long gash down his right side from where he couldn't get his sword up fast enough, and a potion still hums in his veins, turning his eyes black and making every villager unlucky enough to see him run away with fear. The sheer amount of blood drenching his armor isn't helping matters either. He slams open the doors to the inn more forcefully than he meant to, sending a harsh thud throughout the room and causing several patrons to scramble back in shock. Whispers start up as he passes through. None of them are kind. Jaskier is upstairs in their room, composing. Lambert hears the soft twang of his lute from a few doors away. The sound calms him, washing away some of the post-kill adrenaline that's still coursing through him. The music stops when he pushes into their room, dripping blood on the floor. Jaskier stumbles off the bed with a gasp of surprise. Lambert waits for the scent of fear to hit his nose, but somehow, miraculously, it doesn't. All he can smell is Jaskier's worry and something light and warm, like fondness? "Oh dear," Jaskier breathes in that musical way of his. "Oh, you hurt!" "Just a scratch," Lambert grits out. He's not very chatty on the best of days, and after a fight, it takes a while for his brain to come back to earth. "All right." There's the quick shock of touch as Jaskier brushes his knuckles over Lambert's cheek and says, "Wait here a moment, I'll be right back." And he's gone. Lambert doesn't want to get blood on the bed, so he sits down right where he is and begins to work off his boots. True to his word, Jaskier reappears a few minutes later, bringing with him a plate of food and that light, warm smell. "I ordered you both," he says as he sets the food down. His hands go quickly to the buckles on Lambert's armor, and he helps pull the blood-stained leather away. Honestly, Jaskier murmurs as he works, is this some sort of witchy code I'm unaware of, that you must all come back covered in as much blood and creature bits as possible? Not a code. Jaskier pauses for a minute to brush back Lambert's hair and give him a soft smile. Oh no, darling, I'm only teasing. A knock comes at the door. Two servant girls bring in a tub and pitchers of heated water. They leave as quickly as they came. Lambert is sitting nearly naked on the floor in a pool of griffin blood, eyes black as onyx, with two massive swords propped up against the wall. We can't really blame them. Firm hands grasp at his shoulders. Up! Jaskier orders. Lambert lifts his heavy body from the wood and goes where Jaskier guides him. He slides into the warm water with a groan, memories resurfacing of another bath in another time, when his thoughts were just as occupied with Jaskier as they are now, albeit in a very different way.
He travels with me. I kill monsters, he writes songs about it, and I try to keep him from getting his throat ripped out. That's it.
Geralt grinds out the story like the words burn in his mouth. Eskel shakes his head.
There's more to it than that.
Your city helps, Lambert adds, tone softer than Eskel's. How? They could see Geralt struggling. The muscles in his hand tense and relax in rapid succession, and they can all smell the frustration rolling off him in waves. But he recognizes the ache behind their questions, and he's trying! That's all Lambert can ask for.
Jaskier is...
Geralt trails off, searching for the right word.
Touchy,
he says finally.
He likes to put his hands on me. I like them there.
You mean he likes to fuck? This from Eskel, who clearly cannot read a room.
No.
Geralt growls, then backtracks.
Yes.
He curses and turns his head, unable to meet his brother's eyes.
Not just in bed. On the road, too, or when we make camp. He likes to hold my hand.
Geralt's voice grows defensive.
He likes to sleep in my bed and braid my fucking hair. Is that what you wanted to hear?
Eskel watches Geralt with an unreadable expression.
He's not afraid of you,
he asks bluntly.
Of the fact that you could snap him like a twig? No. Jaskier is shit at staying away from danger.
Eskel nods, though Geralt can tell he doesn't quite believe it, and Lambert tilts his head back into the water. If he focuses hard enough, the waves almost feel like a caress. Across the pool, Eskel's mind is occupied by much of the same.
Sounds nice,
he says, and they lapse into silence, each man alone with his thoughts. It is nice. More than nice. Lambert leans back in the tub, Jaskier's clever fingers teasing blood and griffin feathers from his hair, and revels in the pure simple joy of hands on his skin. They've slept in the same bed every night for a week, pressed close under the covers. It's the best week of sleep Lambert has ever had, and it's enough prolonged exposure that he no longer shatters apart at the brief touches that Jaskier is so prone to. Jaskier hums as he rubs away dirt and tension from Lambert's back, little snippets of slow songs that don't play as well with common audiences. He seems comfortable with the act of washing a body of blood. Practiced. Lambert wonders how many times the bard has been in this exact position with a certain white-haired witcher. He wonders why Jaskier is so willing to do the same for a man he barely knows. Why are you doing this? He asks. It's barely a sentence, so softly does he say it. Jaskier's hands still in his hair just for a second. He picks up a pot of soap that smells like nothing at all, works it into a lather. His answer is a long time coming. Would you deny a man food if you had it, and they did not? Lambert is silent. All people need touch. All of them. It is cruel of the world to deny you that, to run from you when you risk your life every day to kill the monsters that would destroy it if given the chance. He reaches over to grab a pitcher and fills it with water to pour over Lambert's head, washing away the soap. With that done, Jaskier sinks to his knees and rests his head on the side of the tub, the blue in his eyes piercing where he meets Lambert's gaze. Do not think I pity you, he says firmly, though there's kindness beneath the words. Because I don't. I'm a selfish man, Lambert. I don't like travelling alone, and I can't stand an empty bed. Having you here is as much for my comfort as it is for yours. Those words loosen the guilt creeping up in Lambert's throat. They dislodge the whispers that claw at the back of his mind, accusing him of taking advantage of Jaskier's kindness, of taking anything from himself. Jaskier reaches out with one hand to cradle Lambert's face, some sweeping gentle arcs across his cheekbone.
Besides, he says, I like helping you clean off. I might not be able to help you fight, but I can do this. I can make sure you have somewhere safe and warm to come back to.
He leans in, a smile crinkling his eyes.
Would you deny me that?
Lambert can only shut his eyes, shake his head, and shut up at the kiss Jaskier presses to his temple. They part ways the next day. There is no more work for Lambert in town, and Jaskier has promised to meet up with Geralt in a few days' time in Cadwyn. Breakfast is a quiet affair, or as quiet as something can be with Jaskier in the room, and they walk to the edge of town together. Jaskier is eastbound, Lambert west. Jaskier pulls Lambert into a bone-crushing hug, uncaring that he's covered in armor and weaponry. Lambert buries his face in Jaskier's neck and breathes deep. There's excitement there for the open road and a tinge of sadness, but still no fear. Never that. When Jaskier pulls back, his hands come up to cradle Lambert's face.
Don't make Destiny do all the work next time.
What does that mean? Lambert asks. The question comes out on a huff of laughter.
It means, my sweet, silly witcher, that you shouldn't leave our next meeting up to chance.
Jaskier's lips cock up into a smile.
Just follow the rumors of beautiful music and ladies' broken hearts. I can't be that difficult to track.
He runs a tender hand through Lambert's hair, dry and blessedly free of blood.
I always enjoy company, especially company as fine as yours. Come find me. You'll be welcome.
Lambert's heart jumps at the invitation so freely offered. He can tell Jaskier means it, and he has never meant anything more than when he says, I will. Hundreds of miles away, in a crappy tavern on the southernmost edge of Sintra, a farmer spits at Eskel's feet. He curses something about dirty witchers and the beasts they hunt, and everything is suddenly, painfully too much. Every insult, every curse, every whore who looks at him like he's not worth the coin they got for touching him. It all hits Eskel at once. He pushes to his feet, manages just barely not to knock the man's breath out of his lungs on the way out. He makes it to the stables and collapses against his horse's flank, fighting to keep his breath steady and his legs firm. Eskel is tired. After a long minute, Eskel swings himself into the saddle and digs his heels into the horse's side. They fly out of town, fast as wind over the sea. North, Eskel thinks. They'll head north. It's time to find Geralt's bard.